All right. Sorry about that, y'all. I just wanted to make sure my mic was clear. So I'm gonna trim that out, just in case if you guys see that in earlier in the stream. So I'll cut that out in the beginning, right? So welcome to Cash Sports. I'm back with y'all again, once again, right? Giving you guys what I can. I'm in school. I act. I do a bunch of things, So for me to be able to just come on here and continuously live stream, that's why I keep saying, man, keep showing y'all support, keep showing some love. I do appreciate it because all it does is help out the platform. Like and subscribe to Cash Sports. You hit that notification button here on this platform, man. I don't. It's not just some singular platform, man. I do encourage the audience to tap in, talk about the topics that I'm talking about, talk about the sports that I'm talking about. I mean, hey, I'm talking about football, basketball, boxing, MMA. Everybody just tune in, man, because all these topics, all these subjects, man, I just want you guys to tap in, give me some feedback, give me some insight on what you guys think I should be covering, what I should be talking about, what you guys want to talk about, and things of that nature, right? So let's get into it, right? Um, NFL. We're gonna talk some NFL today. I've been talking a lot of basketball lately, but you know what? I want to talk some NFL. And I've been slipping on NFL. I've been slipping on some football, so I do want to tap in with you guys just to let you guys know, what's been going on, what I think, and things of that nature, right? So let's pull this up. Let's get this to be a little bit bigger. Right. So NFL Week 9 takeaways are Seahawks NFC elite, are the Packers toast, and is Justin Fields finally the Bears franchise QB? Well, honestly, just from the title alone, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like nobody expected the Seahawks to really look this way going into this season. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, probably only Seattle fans thought they had a chance. Maybe not. I mean, they were going into the year thinking Drew Lock was gonna be like the guy for them. Thankfully, we didn't have to go through that disgrace of a QB performance. Because I'm not really too high on Drew Lock. I think I've seen enough during his time with the Denver Broncos. But I think the highlight of this whole story with the Seattle Seahawks is really Geno Smith. Geno Smith is top 10 in the essential categories when it comes to QBR, completion rate, and even interceptions. He hasn't even been turning over the ball. And with Geno Smith's time on the Jets compared to his time on the Seattle Seahawks, oh man, I wish Geno Smith was this type of quarterback back in the day. I mean, coming out of West Virginia, he was projected, or he was one of the best quarterbacks coming out of that draft class. But to be fair, that draft class wasn't really that deep, So I remember Geno Smith coming into that year. He was drafted in the second round, and so he was drafted in the second round. I remember he even fired his agent because there was a lot of projections saying that he was supposed to go in the first round. And then so the Jets picked him up second round. They started him, and it just didn't seem to be working out in the way it was supposed to. And so now, Geno Smith has spent 10 years in the league. Even got punched in the face by some point for owing some guy money, which is freaking hilarious at the time. Not now. I'm not gonna say get somebody getting punched in the face is hilarious, but just the whole situation in general. He owed him money. He was, the guy was asking Geno, and Geno was like, I think he was like, fuck off, or something in that spectrum. And then he got decked. And I think ever since then, he wasn't with the Jets anymore. He wasn't playing for the Jets anymore. So now, he's bringing his career back into the light. Nobody expected this from Geno Smith. Nobody saw this from Geno Smith. And this is very wonderful to see. This is a great thing to see from the Seattle Seahawks. I always love to see underdogs do their thing, man. I really do. I really, really do. If you guys have any comments towards what I just said, tap in. Of course, hit that comment section or go in the comment section. Let me know, man. All right, let's go down. I don't want to stay at the title for too long. So Geno Smith and the Seahawks keep rolling around, dispatching the Cardinals on Sunday, 31-21, to notch their fourth consecutive victory and remain on top NFC West standings. On the other hand of the spectrum, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers dropped their fifth straight game, losing to the previous 1-6 Lions and falling 3-6 on the season. Meanwhile, the Jets stunned Josh Allen and the Bills, and probably the most football watching world with their 2017 upset of the Super Bowl favorites. And the Bears, despite their 35-32 loss to Miami, may have finally found their franchise quarterback in Justin Fields. So fill in the blanks. After disposing of the Cardinals on Sunday, the 6-3 Seahawks are the blank best team in the NFC. So a lot of guys. So Howell is saying that the Seahawks are the fifth best team in the NFC. Nguyen is saying they're the third best. All right, so fifth, I was doing NFC power rankings. I would go with the Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers, Vikings, and then Seahawks. Sounds reasonable. Um, I really like what the Seahawks are doing. They're rebuilding much faster. Oh, let me get rid of this thing right here. They're rebuilding much faster than anyone could have anticipated because they've been drafting well. That young talent is developing. Similarly to the Jets, Smith is one of the best stories in the league this year. The Seahawks do a really good job of closing games too, which is going to make them dangerous if they get into the playoffs, which is looking more likely by the week. The Seahawks' final six games include matchups with the Rams twice, Niners, Chiefs, and Jets. So they've got a chance to make a statement in December, right? What does Nguyen say? So he says, so Nguyen is saying that the Seahawks are the third best team in the NFC, behind the Eagles and the Cowboys. Right, the Eagles are undefeated and have the best roster in the league. No argument there. The Cowboys have a defense playing in an elite level all season, except one slip up in a win against the Bears. They've won games without their starting QB, and it looks like Dak Prescott is getting in sync. Smith is the real deal. He's playing like an elite quarterback. They have the run game cooking with rookie Kenneth Walker. Their offense can beat you in multiple ways. The defense is starting to play at a very high level after a disastrous start. If this defense improvement is for real, I don't see why they don't have a real chance to win the NFC. Fourth, so Pompeii has them fourth behind the Eagles, Vikings, Cowboys. Yeah, and that's it. So, I mean, who would I agree with? Honestly, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I think how having them as the fifth best team, is pretty reasonable. I would maybe have I would maybe have the Seahawks just above the 49ers, just based off what we've seen. And I know the 49ers, they do have a lot of injuries at the moment, right? And so with that being said, and they're still being able to produce wins. Even though Debo Samuel was out for a week, Christian McCaffrey put up a tribeca of touchdowns from the air, ground, and receiving, right? So he had three touchdowns in that game. But despite that, I mean, Seahawks, they've managed to stay healthy. Geno Smith has been playing exceptionally well. Kenneth Walker, the rookie, has been an exceptional running back, also been one of the top running backs when it comes to yards after contact. And then, not to mention, you still got some veteran guys in there in that receiving core that was there from the previous team with Russell Wilson being the quarterback, and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Both of these guys can play, and they've been producing numbers, as far as we know, for multiple years, right? And so, reason being, I would have the 49ers just a little bit lower. Um, Even though I do think the 49ers will come out on top. So realistically, I do think the 49ers are a better team. I just don't think at this moment, because I think the Seahawks do have a lot of momentum and they're doing a lot of great things. I mean, they beat my Giants when we were on a roll, and for them to have the defense that they had in that game. I mean, I know the Giants offense isn't particularly one For the record books, I mean, we're missing on we need wide receivers like a motherfucker. But at the end of the day, man, um, it's just the grit of it all. That game was particularly like who's gonna come out on top, who wants the game more. Because both of these teams were still coming out. They were doing their thing. They were trying to ball. I know we the Giants we were on a bye last week, but I'm speaking from that game because I think that was one of their best games when it comes to not only defense but also capitalizing on the offense when it was necessary. So they took full advantage of the opportunities that were definitely given to them, right? So let's scroll down. Let's see. Let's check out this another segment here, right? So did the Bucks 16 and 13 win over the Rams change your opinion on their outlook at all? Nope. Let's see what Hal has to say. Their offense is still isn't good enough. They took advantage of a Rams team that has struggled just as badly as this season. That said, Tom Brady showed in the fourth quarter Sunday he still got more than enough to carry a team if the line is protecting him and the receivers aren't dropping every other pass. Because of Brady and to the extent the defense when it's playing to its potential, nobody would want to face the Bucks in the playoffs if they're able to win the NFC South. But until this offense proves it can consistently crack the end zone at least 3 times per game, it's only happened once. In their loss to the Chiefs, I won't be able to view them as a Super Bowl contender. To tie the last two questions together, next week's clash between the Bucks and Seahawks might say quite a bit about each team, right? So the Bucks are going to be playing the Seahawks. It goes hand in hand, man. We were just talking about the Seahawks, and now the Bucks are going to be going against them. So I'm not going to lie. Yes, it is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. I mean, the Bucks they came out with Tom Brady and the Bucks came out with a really late win to be able to uh, a really late game-winning drive against the Rams in the fourth quarter. I forgot the name of the tight end, but I know Tom Brady just made some huge plays to get them in the end zone, right? Which they needed, and the Bucks have their offense has been horrible. They haven't been particularly running the ball. You have receivers just like I've read in that paragraph. They've been dropping passes, and the defense at times hasn't looked outstanding. But that's uh, you have to credit that to the offense. And I'm going to say it like this, right? Because offense is just not being able to produce. Just look at what they've said. They can't even score. They can rarely even score. And then you're even having guys like Scotty Miller. At some point in that game, Scotty Miller was throwing a football pass in the end zone, and he dropped that shit, right? So I'm not looking at Tom Brady necessarily, and I think this is the cliff for him personally. But I think the situation that he's definitely in isn't a Super Bowl contending situation, or a situation that I think will put him over the hump with a lot of these teams um, playing well into the season. It's hard for me though to pick anybody in the playoffs over Tom Brady. Like, let's just say if the Vikings were to play the Bucks in the playoffs, that would definitely be hard for me. Uh, that would definitely be hard for me to pick the Vikings over the Bucks. I'm not gonna lie to you there. That would be hard for me to pick. Because I would pick the Bucks personally, but that goes to how this team is going to look at the end of this season, right? Or at the end of the regular season. So if they can find a stride, if they can get some momentum, let's say they're getting some guys back off the injury reserve, then things would start to look up and things would certainly look good for the Bucks. But at this moment, I mean, they still look relatively pedestrian. They weren't able to score for much of the game. The Rams defense did a better job this time around. But that offense is fucking putrid. Can't block worth a shit. Matthew Stafford is hurt himself. Can't fucking run the ball. I mean, they're giving Cooper Cup. At times I think Cooper Cup is a fucking running back for this team. I see him get a handoff so many times. I don't even know, what's going down with this offense, man. So I know with the Rams, biggest thing is that they have some off-season fixes. They're definitely gonna have to fix up their line, and they're gonna have to figure something out with this rushing game. And also, they might need another wide receiver weapon because it looks like Allen Robinson is just not working out for this team, right? The Packers haven't missed the playoffs in any of Matt LaFleur's first 3 seasons as head coach. Is that streak coming to an end this season? They've lost 5 in a row now. They're in danger of an 8-game skid with the Cowboys, Titans, Eagles on tap. Rodgers threw 3 interceptions to the Lions for the first time in his career. The Lions defense that had 2 picks all season, and underthrown a potential and underthrew a potential TD on a deep ball early in the game. He was bad, and the offense has been substandard all season. If that offense turns it around, it'll be it'll be because they found something they haven't shown all year. This is just who they are right now. The Packers aren't catching the Vikings 7-1, and 2 of the wild card teams, the Cowboys and the Giants, are 6-2. With the seventh seeded 49ers at 4-4 and trending upward, even if the Packers figure out their own issues, they'll need a massive amount of help to leapfrog enough teams to get into the playoffs. It'd take a miracle. So I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna say they make the playoffs. Because they not. They're not making shit. Yeah, I'm keeping it 10 times 1,000 with you, bro. This team ain't going nowhere. Let me see. Can I move this? No, I can't. Yeah, I'm just keeping it a stack with you, man. I'm keeping it for real, for real. The Packers are looking horrible. They've put in a lot of money into this defense. They haven't drafted right with when it comes to receivers for this team. They traded up to get Jordan Hill, right? Jordan fucking Hill. And from what we've seen, this guy is ass. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. He's just not that guy for me, man. I don't see it. I don't see it, bro. I don't see it. I'm just keeping it 10 times 100 with you, man. Jordan Hill just isn't that guy, man. I don't see him taking the mantle from the Packers or from Aaron Rodgers, and especially if Aaron Rodgers couldn't beat the Lions, the fuck you think Jordan Hill is gonna do? Probably threw 3 picks, just like Aaron Rodgers, you know. And so with this team, man, and now that you got Aaron Jones and Romeo Dobbs out, oh man. I mean, they said it right now. The Vikings are 7-1. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna have. They're not gonna catch up to the Vikings. I'll say that now. The Vikings are gonna take this division. I'm calling it now. I'm hopping on the bandwagon as you might call it. But being 7-1, just given how they've looked, Dalvin Cook is playing well. Justin Jefferson is a beast. Kirk Cousins is playing well, right? Even though he had that loss against the Eagles, I mean, Eagles is a great team. Eagles are the best team in the league right now. So, with that being said, Packers, man, they have a lot. They have a lot of shit to figure out. They have a lot of stuff to figure out, and so we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see what these guys are made of and what they're gonna do in the near future, right? And Justin Fields, right? Justin Fields was cooking the other game, man. Putting in that work for the Bears, man. You know what though? I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see Justin Fields doing his thing, right? Justin Fields set a single season record for rushing yards by a QB, 178 yards. He finished with a rushing touchdown, 123 passing yards, and 3 passing touchdowns. You heard it right. Three passing touchdowns as his Bears just came up short against the Miami Dolphins. It's too soon to say the Bears have finally found their franchise QB. Is it too soon? Um, Not necessarily. I don't think so. I think for a long time, the Chicago Bears had that mentality to invest in Justin Fields. Now, the way I look at Justin Fields, I don't think he's the problem. Even with his throwing, I don't think he's the problem. I mean, now I think that's starting to blossom a lot better. I would love to see Justin Fields, make an impact through the air. We know he makes a lot of noise with his feet, and he's very impactful when it comes to making plays with his feet. But that just because he broke this record for this game, that hasn't been the case for much of his career thus far, right? And so with this, right? I mean, we've seen some games with Justin Fields and the Bears, doing some things now. They came out the first week doing their thing. They came out with some wins. Definitely came out with some wins, and Justin Fields is a very big part of that. I mean, he broke Michael Vick's record. Think about that. He broke Michael Vick's record, single game rushing record, 178 yards as a QB. Lamar Jackson doesn't even have that record. He got the single season record, which in a way I think means a little bit more. But I mean, but this performance, if only he had came out with the win, this question wouldn't have necessarily been asked. If he would have been able to come out late with this drive and to have been able to get the win, right? It would have been a completely different situation. We probably would have been having a different conversation. But I think that question still looms. I just don't think it gets asked. But shout out to Justin Fields, man, doing his thing. Probably rookie, probably rookie, probably player of the week in my opinion, or one of them. He definitely deserves to be one of them. All right. And then so the Jets upset the Bills, and more than that, made Josh Allen look human, holding Buffalo to fewer than 20 points for just the second time this season after taking down the AFC top dog. Should the 6-3 Jets be considered contenders? Contenders. Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, they deserve to be contenders. Why? Because defense wins championships. I'm gonna say it again. Defense wins championships. I'm gonna say it again. Defense wins championships. You heard it right. You know, it makes them contenders. It definitely makes them contenders. I'll leave it at that. But as far as like win a Super Bowl, I think there's still an assessment that needs to be taken on Zach Wilson. I from what I've seen, he hasn't been that sort of guy, that sort of quarterback, that I think the Jets are looking for because there was a lot of hype with Zach Wilson coming into this year. He was talking about, he was hyped up. People were talking about how accurate he was. They was talking about his pro day. I know you guys remember. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So with that being said, we just gonna have to see some things from Zach Wilson. But uh, but to push that aside, to talk about the Jets as a whole, I mean they've been a really good team. Unfortunately, Bryce Hall was injured in this season, so he's out for the season. And so they had to bring in I believe Brian Robinson from the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? Unfortunately, losing Bryce Hall and Ajayi Veer Tucker. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Was a major hit because Jets religiously throughout the years when they've produced the most success is when they run the ball and they stop the run, right? Or defense and rushing game. So Jets are legit, man. They have a legit defense. Sauce Walker doing his thing, doing his thing, right? So, hey man, gotta give respect. where it's due. So, what was the most surprising performance? What was the most surprising performance by a team or individual in the early slate of games? How 5 days after trading away TJ Hawkinson, both of the Lions' touchdowns were scored by tight ends James Mitchell and Shane. They've only combined for 9 yards on three catches, but they've made it count when it mattered. The Jets defense holding Allen to 205 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, and intercepting him twice is as impressive as it gets. We've been so used to seeing him shred defenses, seeing him struggle the way he did was jarring. Allen isn't easy to bring down, and the Jets sacked him 5 times. The Jets' young stars showed Quentin Williams had a sack. Sauce Gardner had a tight coverage on the final incomplete had Sauce Gardner Sauce Gardner had tight coverage on the final incomplete pass. This could be a tough defense for a long time. In Pompey, right? Joe Mixon, probably my player of the week. I'm keeping it in stack with you. Joe Mixon was doing his thing, right? Joe Mixon is a good running back, so we probably shouldn't be surprised by his going off, but he came into this game Sunday averaging 54 rushing yards per game. He had 3 touchdowns all year. Sunday, he's rushed for 153 yards, had 211 total yards, and scored 5 touchdowns. If Mixon keeps producing like that, the Bengals would tear it up in the second half of the season. Right? Man, I I'm not gonna hold you though. That performance by Joe Mixon, I ain't expect that. And I had him on my fantasy. I have Austin Eichler and Joe Mixon on my fantasy. I was cooking. I was cooking, man. But it was good to see Joe Mixon do what he did, especially with the Bengals coming out, getting that dub with Jamar Chase being out for a couple games. With I believe an ankle injury. So for the Bengals to get that win, I mean, we've already looked at them as a dangerous team. But the fact of the matter is, they got to fix up their front. They got to get that line together, because you got to be able to protect your quarterback, regardless of how good all around this team is. Because Bengals do have good defense. They have a rushing game, and they obviously have a quarterback. But it's not enough, man. You need that line, bro. You need that line. Joe Burrow can't be doing this all year round. He can't do this every single time. That's hell, man. Can you imagine? You're a quarterback and you get sacked damn near every game. Like Jesus Christ, man. I know that man Joe Burrow be having nightmares when he gets sacked, bro. PTSD like a motherfucker. So hey. But with that being said, this concludes another episode of Cash Sports Podcast, right? I graciously appreciate anybody that tuned in. Thank you for giving that thumbs up, man. Appreciate you always looking out, always on the platform, man. I'm working on some things, and I'm gonna be making some improvements here in the near future. I got a lot of things coming up. I do trust and believe. Trust and believe, man. It's a work in progress. This year's coming up. We're already in November, and it's only gonna go up from here. That's the only way I'm looking at it. It's the only way I'm looking at it, and that's how y'all should be looking at y'all lives. Whatever y'all going through, it's only up. It's only up. It's only up from here, man. That's all I gotta say. You know. So thank you. For you guys tuning into the Cash Sports podcast, please like and subscribe to Cash Sports. I would graciously appreciate it. And also hit that notification button so whenever we hit that live stream, you guys can tune in whenever I live stream, right? Typically I would drop the comment I would drop the link in the comment section so you guys can tap in, join the discussion. This time around, I just wanted to put some information out there. Wanted to talk some football. I haven't talked some football in a long time, but stay tuned, man. Stay tuned because I know I need to get my scheduling here. I need to get my scheduling better so you guys can be able to hop on at a good time in the future, right? Because I got a lot of people from the East Coast, but I live in the West Coast, and just so with me trying to get people on here, and so I can have like a good discussion, a good debate, I got to make sure the time meshes as best as possible, So, but with that being said, I'm gonna wrap it up right here, right? Please, please tune in next time to Cash Sports and have a wonderful day. Thank you. Tune in next time. Cash.